Маркони. Маркони.
All right, thank you all for your patience. We're getting started this week again from last week. I want to just introduce myself, one of the instructors. My name is Wallace. If you're all first time ever meeting me or if you're returning, wanted to introduce ourselves to say that we are ready to go forward with using the knowledge that we have each and every week. So I'll just give a background of myself each time and try to explain some of the things that I've learned that have not worked and things that have worked with the trust or revocable trust studies that we've been doing for over, let's say, over 4 to 5 years, I would say, with a lot of the people that are here. So I just always open up the mic so that everyone has a chance to explain what it is that they want to understand or know each and every week. And we're able to do a live discussion so we can have live questions and answers to everything that we may have to ask. So that's important for us to see that this information isn't unrealistic. And we also share our screen so we can see the results of what is being said. It's interesting to just fill out information, but we want to also see what happened after that information was filled out. So that's why we try to take our time to explain as much as possible of what exactly is working and what is not working. So that's my my take of where I am so far with this. I like to say that I've started in this information back in 2017, but I didn't really start actually getting results until 2019 going into 2020. Once I got into 2019, that's when I seen the results of how I'm supposed to operate with their banking system, which I never used the banking system as much. I was just using just simple, off the grid methods, which will say, hey, if I just got cash or I got a prepaid debit card or I just have, whatever means that's outside of the bank. So this is the part that I learned that has been difficult for people getting started with this is because firstly, the bank is um, very difficult to stay with if you don't know how to manage your banking system, which is a bank. You're going to be learning how to manage a bank, and you're going to learn how to be a banker, and you'll also learn how to be a broker once you have stepped over into the trust realm, which they'll say a living trust. Now, they do expect you to know a lot of this information already because once you have a business account, it moves you into a higher level than if you had a personal account. So, for those who are new to this, we're not saying that you never ever should use a personal account, but it's not in your best interest to mix up your personal with your business. This is the hardest thing that I've learned from seeing people over the years, even people who have the trust. People have the trust, they have a lot of information, they maneuver with it, but they still for some reason are taking it personal. We don't know why that occurs, but I've been able to investigate and do more research of why this occurs. And I'm going to try my best to show a screen to it and show diagrams to why most people stick with the personal side, which most of the time deals with your personal credit. So I hope this helps today with a lot of the information. I myself, if I had to be transparent of what I'm doing, I'm personally looking to manage commercial real estate. So I have been managing commercial real estate for a number of years, and I plan on opening multiple businesses once I have the funding to manage multiple businesses. And I'm keeping it realistic because I don't want people to get too caught away with getting the beneficial interest. And now all of a sudden you have all this money, but you're not actually using the funds for business, which we'll learn about in a few of how people get caught up over time because they actually don't have any business. They're not, it's none of their business with the things that they're doing that they'll say is none of your business. So we got to start understanding these terms that we learned growing up. They sounded cliche. They sounded like somebody was just saying something funny to stay out of my business, things like that. But we're going to learn today of how this was something that trained our mind to understand what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to have our business ready from the beginning, such as our parents were supposed to help us manage it when we were babies all the way till we were 18. And then when we turned 18, we were to pick up where they left off and began to handle our business. I know we say this, but we got to be real with ourselves. Have we really been handling our business all this time since we were 18? This will also explain why the Treasury or the IRS will look at your accounts and say, hey, this person is trying to get all this money, but we don't see them actually handling any business. And we got to determine and see if we should even release these funds to them. So, this is why we're going to talk about everything that you can possibly think about when you deal with this knowledge, including the affidavits that people are going into, speaking about the Treasury, direct accounts. We pretty much have every single step. It's just where you are. If you choose to go into those steps, you got to make sure that you have things prepared and you already have things in order so that you can go through those steps. So I like to talk about everything as much as possible. And I'll open up the floor with something to pick our brains, give you all a diagram that'll help pick your brain to see where all this information is coming from to make sure that you're not doing anything illegal or unlawful. We're going to say illegal and unlawful because there's two sides of which we say the law. You got the illegal, and then you have the legal. Then you have the lawful, then you have the unlawful. All right, so let me show you the first step to show why all of this is still the same information from last week, where we say that you are under a bankrupt system and the system itself is using you for all of the funds and all of the energy and all of the money that you produce until you claim those funds back. So let me go to the first diagram for you to get your mind started with some of this information of where it's coming from. So I wanted to use this word for today is insolvency. So I want you all to learn what it means, what it says insolvency. And then I'll go into the worksheet that you're supposed to work with. That'll be your homework for all of your things that you must handle at your house, which we'll say handling your business is handling your house. So when they say this, we got to be very specific. It's not something outside of your house. It's actually something inside. So it's inside your house this time. Everything that when you get home and you take off your work clothes and all that stuff, now you're back at home handling your business. So this is why we have to prove that we're insolvent once you get back home, because we want to make sure that you're not thinking that you're coming out of pocket for any of those funds or those debts. So if you're either scared of the creditor or you have no fear for the creditor, such as the bill collector or the person that says you owe. So this is where the Treasury tells you that you're insolvent if you choose to do this calculation and qualify yourself. But if you don't want to qualify yourself, you will still do this. You'll still wake up tomorrow and not apply anything. You'll just simply pay the bill, say this doesn't work, and I tried my taxes, it didn't work. So we're going to break down every single layer of why people believe this and think this way after um, not really feeling like you have the answer of being insolvent. So the insolvency I'll read for you just to kind of get the ice broke for it. Insolvency means um, basically all of your debt that you had at the time that you had to pay something. So if I knew that I already owed some money on something else and then I had to pay something else, then that means I'm insolvent at the time that I'm paying this debt. So let me read a little bit to kind of break it down in a way that makes sense for you, but we're going to see what the IRS says. So insolvency says don't include in a canceled debt in income to the extent that you were insolvent immediately before the cancellation. You don't qualify for the insolvency exclusion by being an owner of or a partner in a partnership that owns a grantor trust or disregarded entity that is insolvent. You must be insolvent to qualify for this exclusion. You were insolvent immediately before the cancellation to the extent that the total of all your liabilities was more than the fair market value of all your assets immediately before the cancellation. So this is how you know for sure that you're insolvent. You're going to take the calculations of all of your expenses, which I've been saying this the best way I can for years. All of your expenses, all of your debts, all of your bills. You add all that up and you get that number. It doesn't matter if you have the money or you don't have the money. So if you are insolvent, it's because you added up all your bills, your debts, and expenses, and now you have your bottom line number. This is why it says this way. So now I'm going to show you the next part. It says, for purposes of determining insolvency, assets include the value of everything you own. That's right, everything you own. Evaluate how much the house is, how much the cars are worth, your clothes, your shoes, your furniture, and anything that you have, everything you own. This is going to prove your insolvency, including assets that serve as collateral for debt. So all of the collateral and exempt assets, even the trust, even the things that you have tucked away in the trust somewhere, which are beyond the reach of your creditors under the law, such as your interest in a pension plan and the value of your retirement account. Liabilities include, this is where it gets to the nitty gritty, is what they're going to tell you, the entire amount of recourse debt. So you got to add up all the entire amounts of your debts. You can't leave something out on your tax return. So if you left off the mortgage, you didn't add it all the way up and say, "No, I'm gonna do it next year. I'm gonna try that process next year." Well, you're not gonna be able to claim you're insolvent because you're not adding up your mortgage on your tax return. If you didn't add up all your rent, we know you paid rent. We know the government probably gave you some money to pay rent too. It's still a debt. It's still a rent. You have to make sure that you have the total amount for your rent, your credit card bills, and so on. So we're going to prove this today to show you what all these things are. The amount of non-recourse debt that is in excess of the fair market value of the property that is security for the debt, and the amount of non-recourse debt in excess for the fair market value of the property subject to the non-recourse debt, to the extent non-recourse debt in excess of the fair market value of the property subject to debt is forgiven. Okay, so this is where they get you to where you can use the insolvency worksheet. So this is the clue where they're helping you understand how to do this, how to calculate everything that you have. I want to scroll into this because they're giving you a tip. So I'm going to click on this to show you where I got all this information from, where all these numbers and all these debts that I was talking about, where they're coming from. Here we go. So right here, insolvency worksheet. So then they tell you all of your expenses, all of your liabilities are also called debts. It's an expense at first until you don't pay it and it becomes a debt. It's a bill until you don't pay it, it becomes a debt. That's why we say credit card bill. So the first thing they put on the list is credit card debt. So if you got 5 credit cards, you add up all 5 of your credit cards that are unsecured, because we know that most people have been taught the unsecured credit card method. Doesn't matter if you're a millionaire. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire. I'm saying this on purpose because I've been working around millionaires for over 10 years. I already know how this looks. So a credit card, even if you have millions of dollars in credit card, or you was able to get millions of dollars, it's the same thing. You add up all the credit cards. You put number 1, so you add it up. You put it right there in that box. Number 2, mortgages. Mortgages. That means if you got 2 mortgages, then you got to add up both of them. They didn't just say 1, so all of your mortgages. Then they also got rent here too. So I'm going to show you where it says, or you got to read the whole thing, property held for investment or used in trade or business right there. So if you are paying rent, you are in trade or business with that landlord or that person you paying rent. I don't care if it's an apartment complex. Because some of us still stuck on this. Oh, it's an apartment complex. They won't do it. They won't let me do it. Well, we know they're holding that property for investment as well. So yeah, the rent that you pay at the apartment complex qualifies. If you got a room, we don't care if it's Airbnb. We don't care if you're paying for Verbo. Everything you can think of, it all fits under number two. So we want to be very specific to show why if you're getting into this knowledge of the living trust, you got to make sure you're paying your living expenses. Because there's no way to prove you're doing this if you can't really say you're doing it. So the mortgages have to be added on your tax return. Your rent has to be added on your tax return. And even if you stayed at a hotel or Airbnbs, they still all need to be added up and placed right here on number two. All right. Now, if the government paid your rent, paid your debt, you don't have to worry about this form for that right here. It's if the government, if it's Section 8 or if it's a government subsidy or grant, whatever it is that pays your rent, then this doesn't qualify. You can't use that to get money back. Just for those who are saying, hey, can I get the money back for if it was paid for me? The short answer is no. If you haven't paid it, you can't get it back. Whatever you put in is what you get out. So that answers the question. If people ask the question, well, what if a program paid it for me? What if Social Security paid it for me? What if Section 8 paid it for me? Well, you don't qualify for number two. Everybody else qualifies. We know you paid rent somewhere or you paid a mortgage. Number three, car and vehicle loans. There you go, car note. If you got two car notes, there we go. You add both of them up and you're supposed to put it right here for number three. If you went and grabbed that car from Jumping Jim's auto sales and you got a vehicle contract with them and you making payments, and you need to put that number there. It's very important that you all make sure that you're doing everything that you can think of that you know that you owe. So all your cars, even if you didn't pay it off and they repoed the car this year, you still need to add that repossessed car right there on number three for that year. We're going to talk about 2025 right now. So if it happened in 2025, you need to add that number there. Next is number four, medical bills. That's right. So this should hit everybody. Whether you got insurance and you said, well, I don't have no money for insurance, well, you still need to add up how much would it cost for you to have insurance the whole year. Just because you said you don't want to have it doesn't mean you need to get it. So you can't live if you don't got no medical insurance or you ain't going to get medical checkups. There's no way you're living. So you got to have some type of medical bill at some point in your life. So all your medical bills. No, you're not trying to get an ABB process to try to make the bill so high so you can get cash. So we got to stop this thought because it's starting to be ridiculous. Like if you can just have the bill paid off, then that should be good. Doesn't make any sense, right? If your bill is paid, your bill is paid. Student loans. That's right. Students, all these people, they said it's over $1 trillion or I don't know how much they said. Maybe it's billions. Student loans. Everybody you know. These are the hardest ones I deal with because I went to college too, and I had the student loan. I mean, I still it still shows up, but it shows as paid. It never shows that I owe anything on my student loan. So that's everybody you know. If you got a student loan, you need to add up the total student loan. You put it right here on this line right here. Accrued or past due mortgage interest. So if you got mortgage interest or you owe More than the amount, you put that number there. Accrued or passed through real estate taxes. Here we go. So that's all your taxes that you pay to the county, to the city, to the people that they say you owe taxes for your property. Real estate taxes. Number 8, accrued or past due utilities. We know you can't live without utilities. You got to have a water bill, a gas, electric, etc. bill. So that's the total amount for the whole bill for the whole year. Next is childcare costs. If you got youth and they're under 18, you're responsible for those costs. Whether you took them to school and you brought them back home, the school, there's a cost for the child being at school. How much does it cost? I'm getting to the nitty gritty because a lot of us are still skipping steps. We're thinking that you can just get around it and just use the trust and just sit back and do nothing. There's no way this is going to work this way. So if you have children or youth under age 18, this is your child support right here. You're supposed to be supporting that child, not getting out of it. Because it doesn't make sense, right? How would you get out of supporting the child if the child still is there and they're a beneficiary of your trust? So this is child support right here, number 9. Child care costs, including how much if the court had to bring you to take care of your child, then we already include that too. So you got to take care of the court case and you got to still do the same stuff that's outside the court even more. That's number 9. And we talking about school, we talking about entertainment, picking them up, transportation, medical, at the house sitting there watching them. That's child care services. All right. So the government, if you're a parent and you're the mother or the father, they automatically qualify you as a specialist, meaning that you're automatically qualified as a child care specialist, according to their law. For those who didn't know this, I don't know how much that's going to be for you, but some people have a big number there. Next is number 10. It's the one I always get people always saying, what about my taxes I owe? Yeah. The federal government told you, even if you owe us, you're supposed to be putting that here on your taxes too. So right here, number 10, it says the federal or state income taxes remaining due for prior tax years or the year that you're dealing with. So you bring all that total amount forward to the year that you're dealing with. So if it's a year way back in 2012 or something, right? Bring that amount owed back in 2012 to 2025. And you put it right here. If you owe something back in 2021, you bring the 2021 amount that you owe right here and you add it up. So it's all your state or federal taxes that you owe. This one's gonna get everybody. This next one, number 11, the judgments. That's a big one. Judgments means that all of your court cases that you were judged on, and they said you owe traffic ticket case, um, whatever other case, maybe it's a misdemeanor, even if it's a felony. These are judgments. Real estate, whether you got evicted or you got a foreclosure, these are judgments. Small claim cases against you, these are judgments. So all of us, we have customized trust. There's no way you can get a cookie cutter and somebody copies and pastes a template and that's it. You're just ready to go. Because there's no way your numbers are the same as somebody else's numbers. So judgments are very big. Even if you didn't have the money for the court case, put the total amount. Number 12, business debts. That's where I get everybody at. So all your businesses that you own, all of those expenses too. Whatever your portion of the expense of that business, you got to add all that up too. So if it's an LLC, you got 3 LLCs. You got to add up the debts of the LLCs, all 3 of them as you. whatever your portion of the debt is. That can be confusing. So we're not going to be able to break that down in detail yet, but we're going to show you how it does go right into the sole proprietorship because it says right here, including those owned as a sole proprietor or partner. So you can be a partner in that company. You have equal shares of that expense. 13, margin debt on stocks and other debt to purchase or secured by investment assets other than real property. So there goes your stock market right here. All of your stocks, your bonds, all these things that you, right here. Last but not least, other liabilities not included. So I went through those slowly just to kind of show you the expenses and the debts that you have to add up first so that you can get your number. But remember, you're adding all that up into one number. It says add lines 1 through 14, and we don't care if the number is over 300,000. It doesn't matter. If it's over 300,000, put the number there. If it's 500,000, put 500,000 there. That's our issue. We're thinking that the numbers are too high. How are the numbers too high if you know that this is the amount that you owe? So I hope this helps. This is coming straight from the IRS, the insolvency that you all are supposed to prove to get yourself out of this individual side. I can't get into the assets because that's going to be your 1041 that we're going to start talking about. That's supposed to be in your trust. The living trust, we always tell you to put all your assets into your living trust. None of this stuff should be in your name at this point once you get into the assets. But I'll give you all just for illustration purpose of now. Number 16 goes into your cash and bank account balances. Remember I said once you have the cash in your hand and you're the trustee of the living trust, this cash becomes an asset now. The bank account balances that you have, when you deposit the money into the bank, this becomes an asset to you. The property becomes your mortgage. Now that same old mortgage that we see as a liability, all of a sudden, if you got the living trust, it becomes an asset. Just like that, transforms like that. It's all about your mindset though. It's almost like the same things on the last. They got cars and other vehicles, so your cars can become an asset. Computers, household goods and furniture, your tools, jewelry, clothing, books, stocks and bonds, investment in coins, stamps, paintings, or other collectibles. It's a big one right here for those who love art and dealing with real physical coinage. Firearms. If you got your firearm, how much does the firearm cost? How much does it cost for the AR-15? You know, for any of those things that you use for hunting, the bow and arrow, sports, photographic, other hobby equipment, stuff you go like to Hobby Lobby and things like that. Interest in retirement accounts, your IRA accounts, 401k accounts, and other retirement accounts. That's why we tell you to give all that over to your revocable trust. So if you got those accounts and you still got it on your individual side, it can become a liability to you until you move it into the revocable living trust. The creditors can't get to it once you move it into the trust. Interest in a pension plan, interest in education accounts. See, y'all don't even know that y'all got interest in education accounts. You don't even know. But they're telling you all the answers right here for all your assets. 31, cash value of life insurance. Life insurance, cash value. So that's that IUL that they're selling you. All these different things. They're selling you the IULs. They're selling you the index insurance, all these things that you don't know. But the Treasury has told you that you have a cash value of life insurance. Some of us don't even know this. We don't know that you can get cash out of your life insurance. You know, mama been paying life insurance for the last 10, 15 years, and she don't know. Security deposits with landlords. Ooh, see? I bet you didn't know that was an asset, the security deposit that you pay with the landlord. Some of y'all just be thinking that, oh, they gonna take it out my security deposit, so I owe them. You don't want to think like that. You want the landlord to owe you the security deposit back. Utilities and others. Look at this. How did utilities become an asset all of a sudden? Interests and partnerships. That's right. Just because I'm interested in being a partner or working with your business, then it's an asset to me. If you work with me and we're actually doing business, or if I'm working with some other person's business and I got interest in that. Value of investment in a business. So that means I'm just investing in the business. I'm giving some money to a business because I want to see that business grow. And I want to also get a return on investment, which they call an ROI, return on investment. 35, other investments. For example, annuity contracts, guaranteed investment contracts, mutual funds, commodity accounts, interest in hedge funds, and options. And last but not least, other assets not included. Then you add all that stuff up, and then when you get to this bottom line number, they're going to determine if you are insolvent. So I went through all this slowly because I'm showing this is coming from 2025. This is right here, publication 4681 in year 2025. And the Treasury has given you the answer to what you're supposed to do for all of the individual things that you owe. So I know this sounds interesting and we don't know for sure the numbers that we're getting, but you have to add up all your numbers. So no one can say, hey, type this amount right here on your taxes. So open up for comments, questions, and shares of that first part to pick our brains to get us wired up of where these numbers are going to be coming from. How are you going to do these things on your taxes so that you can get a tax return? And then we'll answer that comment question we have in the chat.
Wallace, I have a question. You were just now on the asset side, what you just got finished doing. You was and I think about utilities, and you said how could your utilities all of a sudden now be an asset? Is it because you took all your utilities out on the personal side and put it in the trust and put it in your trust, living trust? That's how it became an asset. The utilities, because you did that. You took it out to your personal, like your utilities. You paying all your utilities in the personal with your name. Now, I just seen. Now you just said how it become an asset. Is it because
Correct.
is it because you took it out your name on the personal and put it in a revocable trust? All your utilities. That's how it become an asset.
Well,
In
I
that
mean, I
form.
say it becomes an asset because you are now using it for a business, right?
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know, but if it's personal, it don't seem like it's an asset. It seems like it's a
Right.
bill.
It is right. So I'm asking you, is that how you do it? Like take it out, utilities out of your name and put it
Hmm.
in the revocable trust.
Well, you don't have to use revocable trust for
Uh huh.
utilities. You can use an other trust. That's why we say
Okay.
create another
Okay.
business or another family trust.
Oh, okay.
And if you do that, then that'll work too for
Oh,
utilities.
so that's how it become an asset on that form by you doing that, putting it in a trust, your utilities.
Right. That's the way that we're explaining it. The
Okay.
way I'm going to explain it, yeah,
Okay.
you want it
Okay.
to be you want to put everything that shows as an asset into
Mhm.
a trust, a name of a
Okay.
trust with an EIN, not your social or not a
Right.
trust that requires corporate handle.
Okay.
So we be careful with the word trust because there's corporate trust out here.
Oh yeah.
You see, when people say, well, I have it in my trust. So yeah, I hope I answer your question. Once it
Yes.
becomes an asset, then this
Mhm.
is an asset to you. It works
Okay.
for you, doesn't work against you.
Against you. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we see Carlin's hand. Go ahead, Carlin, and see your hand.
Yes, hi. It's crazy because I was literally just looking into this morning and seems like law of attraction. I don't know. But looking into this, I was seeing that you can do like cancellation of debt with like discharging your mortgage and using that as well to offset the debt. But I was trying to find out, I know what you're doing the tax return. So are you still filing the 1099 B with doing that, or you just doing that by itself without the 1099 B?
Right. So the short answer is when you have an expense on the liability side, that is a 1099B.
Okay, because I see it seems like in other ways that certain people do it, they still file the 1099 B with that document as well. So you saying you're not doing that, that's just gonna be the 1099 B calculating all the debt, and that's
Well, the
still
IRS, the IRS says this is for your records only. Do not turn in to them that document. It says it word for word. It says do not turn in this document to us.
oh,
Keep
okay.
for your records. So you don't have to overprove the 1099B. By itself is all what we always recommend people do is just do a 1099B by itself with the instructions, and that'll be all you give to the other party. Everything is there.
Okay, so when you follow this, you're just gonna put it on the Schedule C, the calculation, and that's it without doing the 1099B.
Yes, I would do the Schedule C first, and then that will be where all my numbers go first. I
Okay,
wouldn't recommend people starting off doing the A, B, or any C's or any ABs or anything until you have your Schedule C in place. Because those same numbers should match your 1099 A's, B's, and whatever you're gonna do.
okay, okay. I think I got it. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I hope that helps because it can be confusing. You want to go backwards instead of trying to go forward because sometimes
Mhm.
by backtracking, you're able to double check to make sure your numbers are adding up.
And I see they use that also with the RS Form 982 to cancel debt and everything. I don't know if you know anything about that.
That's correct. That is the cancellation of the debt. They don't put a C on your tax return. They always put Form 982
Uh,
insolvency, but people don't know what the IRS is looking at. They're thinking that they're looking at the 1099s. They don't look at your 1099s.
okay, and I see the publication that also goes with it that shows you to discharge either the car or the debt or the repossession, anything like that.
Everything,
Yeah,
everything, no matter what. Even if you didn't have them, you got evicted.
yeah,
Add that money that you got evicted. You got kicked out, or you didn't go. You went to court, and the judge said, "Hey, you must get out." And the sheriff came. You still got to add those numbers up for that house that you didn't pay,
yeah,
or that apartment complex.
yeah. It's mind blowing. Yeah, thank you. All right, cool. Thank
No
you.
problem. No problems. Anyone else have thoughts? I want to answer that comment right here for the I think someone ECAT wrote right here too. Okay, so let's go to this comment for a second. It says, "What about office lease payments, leases under my business?" Yeah, if you're the payer, you still, and if it's not under your trust business, then yeah. When you say under my business, business is vague. I know a lot of people who got businesses. So I want to make sure if it's a trust, then it's an asset. Yeah, no, it's a liability. Instantly a liability if it's an LLC. They tell you limited liability. It didn't say unlimited. So a limited liability corporation is a liability to the social. That's for all those who have it. Even if you have a multi-million dollar LLC, it's actually a multi-million dollar liability to you on your social. This is why I don't try to hurry up and grab, which they'll try to tell you to grab the high level credit lines in the LLCs. You know, grab the 250K no docs. I know you see people that's out there with the Instagrams and the TikToks and all these different social media platforms telling you to go to all to grab the LLC and to get um, multiple credit cards. Yes. So then if you do this, you have to list every card that you got also under the LLC. So be your personal credit cards and your LLC credit cards. There'll also be liabilities that you will list. So I hope I answered that question for anybody who has that similar situation. Thank you. So that would be great. If you've done all that, you want to make sure those numbers are all added up under credit cards. When you say you moved it to the trust, so does the trust EIN have the credit card? Or
Yes.
okay, great. So now
Yes.
that's an asset now. It's no longer a liability at that point.
Yeah, altogether, I started this about a year and a half ago. So as I was moving, learning so much, and I moved my car into the trust, my everything, almost everything.
Perfect. Now, the reason this is important is because you're now able to truly claim those as a trustee because you have it in a trust EIN.
And I'm sorry I couldn't talk. I'm in the hospital and I was
No
talking.
worries. You don't have to. You have to explain. Just keep it private. You know,
Thank you.
all of us. And that's what's listed too. List those bills too.
Oh my
You see?
God, over
Yeah, absolutely.
$300,000 so far. But yeah,
Go to the billing department. Ask them what's the total bill for this.
even though the bills is under my social now, because that's not none of them. It's in the trust.
That's the point. Everything I read for you was everything that's in your social.
Okay. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And some of the bills got paid by the hospital inside non-for-profit, which is awesome.
No, they're using you. They're using your social.
Yeah, they are. Yes. So I claim every penny.
That's for everybody listening. They're using your social.
Yes. Oh, yes. Thank
All
you.
these organizations that are paying the bill for you, you always have to sign documents and get consent. And guess what? They're doing it for you.
They're taken out of my trust for sure.
hmm So I hope this helps with all of us thinking about this for the LLCs. So if you know someone that has LLCs and they owe money and their business is in trouble, well, you want to get those debts listed on your taxes.
Yes, I have different trusts that I allocated. Even my business internet is under a trust.
Good.
Um,
That the internet is an asset now.
my cell phone is under my trust.
Perfect. Same with me. Everything that I talk to you all is under the trust. Even university technicians is a trust.
And that means I can claim multiple trust amounts, right? Because there are different separate trusts.
Exactly. That'll be what I'm going to get into in a little bit as I continue from part 2 last week. But I just wanted to make sure everyone is walking through where you should be and where you are. So there's no confusion of what you're doing every week.
Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem. So anybody else have any thoughts to the publication 4681? I'm using specificity of where it's coming from, 2025, and you're going to be looking at something called an insolvency worksheet. And that's a lot of 1099 ABBs. If y'all had to do it like that.
Can I?
Talking about three to $400, $500 and just fees on that software.
May I add a nugget for everyone?
Feel free.
So if you wanting to put this is from my experience, internet on a trust, Spectrum does not check any credit. Not for you, not for the business. So it's super easy to do it. So hopefully that helps somebody.
Spectrum? Yeah, Comcast does it. Comcast does it too for the trust.
Right. In the past, I had them under LLC. I mean, obviously, I learn as I go. So I moved
They're
it.
checking credit. You're saying they don't. They are checking credit.
I did not see it in my report.
That's right. It never showed. That's what I'm going to talk about. It's that you're not ever going to think about the personal report ever again.
Right.
When it goes into the trust.
And they never asked me for the EIN until I brought over my cell phone on the same account. That's when they asked for EIN and everything. But the business internet, it was super easy. Not then ask me for my social, they didn't ask me for anything. They just set it up.
They'll just need the name of your
right,
business.
of the trust, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
You're
so
right.
hopefully they help somebody. If it's just business internet, go for it.
That's everybody you know right now. If you got a
Mhm.
trust instrument in your name or you have a trust instrument in your hand, you should have business internet right now.
Right.
Everybody that's listening, where's your business internet at your house? And it's free. Once you do it, it'll be free for like the first month or so.
I got a really good rate, $60 a month for the high-end business internet and the cell phone attached.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Rest my case.
We'll get into that too. I'll talk about how you're going to be creating credit accounts with the trust and how I've been able to successfully do this for over 5 to 6 years. It's probably been more. I just want to give you all just including the banking knowledge and getting treasury checks. So the Duns and Bradstreet is where I want to go to next. If anybody else have any thoughts or questions so far about using your trust EIN as an asset, because that's what she was just explaining of how once she has that EIN from the IRS that you got, it doesn't matter if you go create one tomorrow. You can use that EIN tomorrow to get what she just mentioned, which is the internet. You can get business, whatever it is. And that's what I'm going to talk about, how you're going to be able to interface with the government system and operate your business credit. It's going to be a lot different than personal credit that has been very complicated and really has been blocking you all this entire time, keeping you on the personal side purposely. So we don't talk about FICO scores or get you into the FICO score, right? We don't tell you to put yourself down as a personal guarantor. You never ever want to do this. And if you have to do this under threat and duress or under emergency circumstances, we can understand. But at this time, do your best to never ever go back to the personal side. So I know who I'm talking to, but I was this person at one point. And I know it's hard and difficult, but you can overcome. Okay, I see your hand, Greg. I see your mic. Go ahead, Greg. Okay, maybe you didn't have a thought at the time. So let's go start off. And I always use myself as an example. If you have people showing you something and they're not showing themselves as the example, then you need to scrutinize everything that they say and everything that they do. Even me, if I don't show you what I'm saying, then definitely ask questions and make sure that I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to show you the DUNS number of how, if you do the sole proprietor correctly, like we said with the Schedule C, with your taxes, and you also have your name as a business, the DBA, I'll explain how you're going to be issued automatically by the government a DUNS number. And this happened not only for me, but a few of my colleagues that have been working with me in trust for a number of years. So everyone around me in some form has a DUNS number. And if you don't have a DUNS number, then you all have not fully activated your business yet. But let me get into some of the notes first before I talk about the DUNS number and how I've had this since 2020. All right, you probably can't see the notes, but it's only for me to see at the moment. So I'm going to start for part 2. Continues from the last meeting. You will need to be the last bullet points we had was you will need to be set up as a dedicated bank account. I'm sorry, you will need to set up dedicated bank accounts in DBA names under your trust employer. I'm gonna read it one more time. You will need to set up dedicated bank accounts in DBA names under your trust employer. This can be difficult to explain, but I'm going to show you how this looks because once you create a DBA with the trust, this will also activate lines of credit or business lines of credit for that trust EIN. First one I did was the revocable EIN. Once I got the revocable EIN, I also did more EINs that I got as a business. And that's what you're going to do here on out. Every time you create a business, you need to use a trust EIN and you need to do a DBA for the trust EIN. And once you do that, you're going to use that to operate in their system. So that's why we say you need to set up dedicated bank accounts in the DBA. Do not set up a trust account. It's very important that you do not go to the bank. And I waited a while to say this. I didn't say this till now. It's why you're not supposed to go to the bank and say, I need to set up a trust account. I'd never tell people in our banking course, if you take our course, to set up a trust account. We always have you do this exact process that I'm saying right now. And I see a hand right here. Go ahead, Raymond.
Good evening, everybody. My question, real quick, I'm trying to clarify. You said to get a DBA for the trust. So, like, for example, mine is Morals and Ethics Project. I have to get a DBA for that, or that doesn't need a DBA.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That is correct.
Okay.
You need to be doing business as the trust
Right.
name that you created, right?
Right. So now, how we get the DBA for the trust is similar.
It's the
Like
same. It's the same way you would have did it for the LLC. It's
got the
nothing different.
LLC. So the LLC.
That's just like how people say I have a DBA for my business. It's the same process.
Okay. Okay.
You
So
see?
I was asking to see if it was the same DBA process for our names for the social, but
Yes,
sound like
it is. It
oh,
is the
okay,
same thing as what it is, right? You start with yourself
okay,
and then you do your
right,
trust, right? That's why we always tell
okay.
people
So
you got
when
to
you
get yourself right.
type it in, it'll come up the same way. Got you. All right.
Exactly.
Made
Because
it.
I want to show you two examples in the few after we get a few of these questions answered about the DBA and so on. Go ahead. I see another hand also.
Yeah, so okay. When I had did it, I know Vince is not in here right now, but it was that we supposed to get a trust account. I have a trust account, bank account already, and I think that's what we've been doing with Shoot as well. So now you're saying we don't do a trust account. We supposed to do a DUNS number and I guess and get a a account with the trust name doing business as?
That is correct. And I actually never stated at any point that anyone should get a trust account.
I thought when we had the few classes about getting the account and which is the fidelity and everything that we've been speaking in the class was for us to or sole proprietor, but it was not to get a trust account as well. I know a sole proprietor definitely.
No. We don't even teach to get fidelity at all. We tell you to get a treasury direct account. So our process is without the banking system. So I always want to make sure you remember.
Okay.
So far, we're still without the banking system yet. I'm just showing you that your beginning is the doing business as, so they can put you in the system with a DUNS number. Then when the bank reads your information, they're going to be like, okay, great. We're going to match your DUNS information here too. Once I get to that point.
So okay, so for the people who have already created a trust account, is there any issues with that?
Yes, it's going to run into issues because you've given your trust over to the bank.
Oh,
Which I spoke of in the past. I've said this several times. Once you give the trust over to the bank is now a corporate trustee. Same with Fidelity accounts. Same with the Charles Schwab accounts. They're
mhm.
corporate trustees.
Okay. So I guess we'll create more the other trusts and don't do
You
account
can
for
keep it. I'm just
it.
explaining there's more things to do if you already have it. You still need to do this then. if you don't have this.
Okay. All right. No problem. Thank you.
That's just for all listening, because I don't want to say it's my process or it's this process or that process. It's not a process. It's just what it is. It's business credit. That's what we're talking about right now.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Not your personal credit being used for your trust. Just to make sure I clarify this, you don't use your personal credit for your trust. All right, we had another hand. I seen someone else had a hand, and then I'll get into some of the DBA information that I'll show. Okay. All right. So that person, I guess they put their hand back. All right. So let me go to our next part. Our next part says this structure will keep your personal and trust funds separate but compliant, allowing you to receive trust funds to cover your living expenses. All right. So that's what I wanted to go into, why I use the sole proprietor account. And the same way I use my sole proper account, I want to use the same process to get the trust EIN the same way that I got the bank account for my sole proprietor. Go ahead, Bobby. I see your hand.
Yeah, I already took it down, but I just wanted to maybe can we go for a second deeper into why the bank would be a co-trustee, a corporate co-trustee? Because if they are not listed in the trust, how can they assume or have a trustee authority?
Right. So they have the court test and the control test that I spoke of about maybe a month or 2 months ago. The court
Yeah,
test and the control test. Do you
yeah.
remember
So
that?
it derives from there.
Right. Charles Schwab can
Okay.
give your trust over to the courthouse and say, hey, this person had $10 million in their account.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I
Does that
see.
make sense?
Yes. And when you open it up as doing business as, then the trust is not in you. Who would be the joiner in
But you would
situations like court?
it wouldn't be a trust account at that point, remember?
Yes, 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 yes. Okay. But it could be the same situation. The same situation could happen that the bank still gives over information to the court.
No, not if it's unincorporated.
Um, yes. Okay. Yeah.
Did I answer your question? Make sure. Okay, great.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, I know it sounds like a monkey wrench that we're throwing into that bank account, but we're hoping to help you get to the business credit. That's the goal. The goal is to get to the business credit side. Yes, the trust accounts work for now, but eventually those trust accounts should be funding a business. All right, so let's get to the DUNS number. Wanted to show some examples of this to kind of search for how this looks for my example. Let's go to business directory. So every business should be searched. You should be able to find a business here. I think this is it. Search the DUNS and hundreds of millions of business records. Yep, this is it. So what I did, I wanted to show how examples that you use for the EIN, some of my EIN examples, I'll give you all that I have. And I'll use university technicians, for example. Let's type that in for Duns and Bradstreet. Perfect, it pops up. So university technicians pops up with a company profile. It has a DUNS number. And this is what's supposed to pop up for each of your EINs, is what I'm saying. So even if you have the trust account, if it's not popping up as a business, then you're not able to substantiate business credit. Because that's why you have to do this part, so that the business credit can eventually pop up.
Is
Then
it
we get
okay?
into that.
I'm sorry, could I just ask you, is it okay to use your same address like if you don't have a trust address yet, to use your home address as well with the trust?
Whatever's on the EIN printout.
So when you file the tax return, it's not going to be a conflict because they see it's you. Say if I file the 1099 A or Bs on the trust and they see the same address, to give credit back is not going to be a conflict.
No, an address is supposed to be a business address now.
Okay.
You see? So you turn your house into a business. Remember we said the house becomes an asset?
Yeah, yeah, okay.
You see? This is why I went over that insolvency worksheet first to show why you all are converting yourself from the individual into the business. I hope this helps. Anyone have any thoughts to that? So I'm giving you all a clear example, real time. I typed in the name that's on my EIN. I'm being very specific. If you type your EIN number, not your number, I'm sorry, your EIN name on Duns and Bradstreet, does it pop up? Anybody here? When you type your name on your EIN, does it pop up on Duns and Bradstreet? That's going to be our test. So when you do this, this is going to prove that your business has credit, which we're going to talk about in a few. This is just one example. So you got Duns and Bradstreet. The next one I want to use as an example, I think I did this one before, is Experian Business. Aha. See, we thought we were going to say Experian Personal. No, it's no more personal. Experian Business. So we need all of your scores to be showing on the business side so that nothing happens to your business. We want your business to be a long-lasting business, not a business that fails in 5 years. That's what they say. They say the statistics is you stop doing business in 5 years, or your business fails because you didn't pay all your credit cards or your loans back in time in 5 years. That's how it looks to the system. So let's type the company name. I'm going to type in University Technicians here. Now let's just do it to the state. Let's say I'm in Florida. It should pop up. And just say my company or just say other company. Look at that, it pops up. And look, it has trade lines. So I don't even have to buy trade lines. So they tell you all, they sell you trade lines and you don't need those either. They'll give you, you'll get trade lines. I'm gonna explain how trade lines are actually added on your credit report for your business side. So as you can see, University Technicians pops up twice. There's two situations where there's credit. And I have to pay for this to get access to that type of report. As you can see, this is another layer that'll lead me into the UCC. I'm going to tell you about how the UCC, Uniform Commercial Code, UCC 1, is also used with this too. It's it right here. So the trade lines that you can see, if you pay for the big package right here, I think this one right here, the Profile Plus report, I think you'll be able to get access to the UCC filings or reports right here. Yeah, here we go, UCC details. All right, so that is explaining how the credit is looking with the business. The reason why we use the business credit, because we want to make sure that when you go buy houses and you buy cars, it takes time. So don't rush it. Try to take your time to make sure it's layered correctly so that by the time you do it, it's going to be 100% business expense. So here we go. That was Experian Business. The next one I want to talk about is Equifax Business. Let me go to my notes real quick. It's Equifax. So Equifax has business as well, and also does TransUnion. So you're going to be looking at the business side of all of these credit bureaus that you all have been hearing about most of our life. We've also been hearing about the credit bureaus. So TransUnion Business. Let me show you the website, how it looks. All you're doing is just going to the main website and then just click to the business side of the website. That's all I'm doing. So this is it right here. Where you see TransUnion, you actually can create an account and it logs you in, but you see this is the business side. Right here in the top left corner, you can see where it says personal on the left, but on the right, you'll see business. So what I'm saying is I want you to make sure your information is being seen on the business side once you log in. Or even if you create a brand new account, create a brand new business account with TransUnion Business. All right. So that's where this comes in at. I don't know if you can search for your business right here. Let me see if I can search it in. I don't think so. Let me see if I can find. It may want me to log in to do a search or something like that. Yeah, search business pages. Yeah, it doesn't pop up. All right, so the next one we have on the list is Equifax Business. Equifax Business. All right, so you see there's a business side to Equifax. So I'm gonna click on here. Okay, so when you go to the main website, they do give you a login once again to the business side. So if this is your first time seeing this, we want to make sure that you're walking through all this knowledge and information for the first time with exclusively just the EIN. So when you grab the EIN from the IRS, this is what you needed to do with that EIN Monday through Friday. Some of us have examples of this. Like I said, you got the automotive, so you're going to use the EIN to get the automotive. The commercial credit, whatever that is, use the EIN. Communications and utilities. Look at this brother right here. He got a laptop, he got the internet on, he got his phone, he's using the EIN. Credit union, using the EIN. Financial services, financial technology, fintech. That's all your crypto and your digital currency. Your fintech, we do that as well in our banking course. Government, use the EIN to work in the private sector with the government. Yes, you become private sector when you have the trust. That's what the government says. That's not what I said. Higher education, insurance, mortgage and housing, and you can make payments. I like how they showed the pictures of this. I just wanted to make sure we all understand what the EIN is being used for the business. And then you use that as a business score for yourself as you go. Now, going back to the notes we talked about last week, it says financially, you want to aim for at least $300,000 line of credit tied to your social security number and sole proprietorship to ensure you have enough leverage to build more credit and manage larger bills responsibly. So that's why we said over 300K is your goal, because once you're over 300K, you're over the FDIC threshold that they have for the personal side. So when you open the business account, the sole proprietor business account, they're going to automatically qualify you for over 300K. So if you have that mindset now, then that's easy for you to get to 300K, as long as it's a sole proprietor business account or a DBA account with a trust. If you use the trust account, yes, it'll go into the trust account, but they're going to require you to transfer that to your individual. So we got to be careful It will limit you on how much money you can transfer from the trust account to your individual account. So any thoughts or questions so far on that aspect of the business credit? We'll get more into the business credit as we go, and I'll show you the UCC information too. So finally, by activating your revocable living trust as a functioning employer entity, you are positioned to legally pay yourself and others. So that goes right back to how you pay yourself. So instead of you taking the paycheck, you say, hey, pay my bills, pay my expenses, pay all my debts. So that's what the trust does for you. The trust also pays others. If you owe money, then the trust can pay the debt or the bill or the expense for you if you owe it to others. And that's why I went into the examples of like the insurance company or the automotive company. These are others. You'll also be funding operations. So when you get funds, that'll be what you're using the funds for, to fund the operations so that it can operate throughout the whole year or operate more businesses. So you should never really have money left over. It should be money already, just as soon as it comes, it's already allocated to where it's supposed to go. You're going to grow your private banking power as a trustee and manager. So that's what you're doing. You're a private bank, you're a private banker, and you're a broker. And you're now managing all of this money so that you can pay off all of the bills, all the debts, and all of the expenses. So this is where I get to the point where I say the bank is open because your goal is to get a line of credit. That's what this whole thing goes to. So eventually you need to come up with a number that is going to work for you to help you manage all of the things that you have already, such as your assets. So my example that I have, I'm looking to build my credit to $1.5 million in about 2 years, right? So my goal is to have credit or a line of credit. I don't need to have cash sitting inside the bank. There's no cash. There's no fiat. Everything is lines of credit. So when I have $1.5 million line of credit, I am able to pay not only for real estate, I'm able to pay all my bills, all my debts, all my expenses. I'm also even to also pay for bills of businesses. So that $1.5 million goes away real quick, because if I'm paying for all these businesses and this real estate, I may have maybe less than 10,000 left after this. So that's why I have this example to show what I'm doing and what you all should be thinking that you're doing eventually. What is the whole point? Why do you have the EIN? The whole point of having the EIN is so that you can build a line of credit. So this is the example I wanted to show as the beginning of why those cards are there, because the cards are going to be used to pay your bills. Now beyond, there's no court on the planet that can't say that my business is not paying the bill. So if I'm in court and they ask me, hey, why do you say that you're a business? Why do you say that your business is paying this? Well, here's the card. Exhibit A. They'll show it to the judge. The judge will look at it and it's over. It says business. So that's what we're here to do. You want to make it seem so good that if you were brought to court and you had to explain it, how would you explain it? Go ahead, Bobby. I see your hand.
Yes. So how would you explain it for people like a few of us who are listening to you? So yes, we are talking about business, but many of us, I think, are not aware of the fact that they truly should create the true business where they sell services, have a website, have a business phone number, have a business address. So everything that's included for a business, that they should have those things set up. And we don't have it. So I don't have it. So if I go to court and also in 3 years I don't have it, would you be able to explain it? Is there some room to explain it, or is it necessary to truly build a business?
That's what I started off in the beginning. I always said that our parents, if we were babies, they were supposed to be handling our business up until we were age 18, right? And then when we turned 18, it was given to us to do what? Handle your business. So this was a word thrown around. We were just throwing around the word. Hey, I'm doing my business. I'm handling my business. But this is officially the only way you can prove, if you were in court, that you truly are handling your business. So that's why I
And the
say, as long
bus
as you have those cards. So do you have the card?
so you would say the only exhibit could be and would be sufficient the business debit card or other business cards where you could claim or can claim that your family is your business and all the bills are connected to the family business, which is your true family that you manage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be my exhibits. So I'm giving physical
I see.
examples.
Yes,
You
I
see, I
see.
have to give a physical example of my exhibit. I can't just give a fantasy, right?
Yes.
Or delusion. We're going to call it delusion if you can't explain it to the court. There's a
So
trust
you could
account. My trust account has $1 billion and and I'm accessing that trust. How can you explain that?
I'm only going to access the trust account for trust business, trust obligations.
No, you don't have no way to access that trust account that way.
Oh, you mean the Social Security trust?
Yeah, so you would basically say
Ah,
I'm accessing my line of credit. I have a
yeah.
business. I have a line of credit.
Yes, yes, yes. I
You
see.
see?
So we would not really need to really create a whole business like the people know it, like
You are the
mainstream
business. Remember,
people.
I'm showing you my name. I just want my name, me to have $1.5 million, right?
Yes, 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 yes. I just
Now, if
mean
my if
like
my
the
EIN has another $1.5 million or 3 million, that's another EIN that has more money. You see?
yeah, it's all good. I understand. Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
and
So
so
you get
yeah, yeah,
yourself with a line of credit, then you get the businesses lines of credit too.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So I hope that helps with us seeing this from a visual perspective and a physical perspective too, because you got to physically show and prove. You go to your bank and you look at your account and it shows that you can build a line of credit. So let me give another exhibit example of this. Then I'll get into some more Q&A. So I want to make sure. Oops, sorry about that. Want to make sure that we have the example of what you can see and show if you were standing in court. Oh no, it froze. It would freeze right there. Give me just a moment. I have a tech difficulty. If there's anybody that want to discuss, just discuss for the next 10 seconds. I got to get this tech thing work out. All right, apologies for the delay. Look like it just stopped trying to allow me to click on the next screen. So let's go right into my next part that I wanted to show you is about financially aiming for at least 300K. So that's what I was saying. The number that everybody here needs to show and have eventually once you get those business debit cards is a mindset to have at least $300,000. The reason we say this because this brings you over the 250,000 FDIC insured through the personal bank account. So they're going to create an account that's going to be able to substantiate 300K or more. But if you have a personal bank account, you're not able to substantiate that because it's a personal bank account. You see where I'm going?
Is something supposed to be on the screen?
No, not yet. I'm going to be able to, I just had some difficulties. Just wanted to kind of give an idea. I'll go ahead. I heard seen Queen Mother had her mic as well.
I'm fine on Wallace. I'm all right.
Okay. Yeah, but that's what my example was saying is that if you are going to have an account, make sure that it can hold more than $300,000. That's why it takes so long. So if you're doing this right, you're going to take your time and you're going to make sure everything is right. Because once the money comes in, you don't want the money to stop coming. So some of the examples we said with the DBA, somebody asked a question about the trust having a DBA. So I'm going to show you how it looks on the accounts in just a moment. That's how you can get the trust account also included. Let me, here it goes right here. Good. It stopped freezing on me. All right. So y'all can see the screen, right? Let me scroll in a little bit. All right. So this is the example what I was saying right here. See how it says business? So you want to make sure that the name of your EIN has an account. This is the example of the account. So you want to show you have the trust with the EIN that has a DBA that has an account. Then you got your name that shows the DBA that has an account. So you got your social, then you have your EIN. Those are the two ways that it looks. So I'm giving you all some clear, this is back in 2020. So this is showing how long this has been going on. So this works at any bank that you have. You may even be able to do this at your bank that you have now. So that's what you want to see when you log in. You want to be able to see those things because that's going to build you to the point where you can gain a line of credit. You got the savings and you have the checking. Next, after you do this, you're going to get the credit line. That's what I'm talking about right here. So I can build this credit line right here to as much as I want. So if I have $300,000 line of credit, I can put $300,000 into this line of credit. If University Technicians needs more credit, I can update that credit too to do the same thing. So it's $300,000 line of credit here, $300,000 line of credit here. Does this make sense on the visual, physical example? So if you're able to explain this to yourself, you can explain it to others. That's why I'm doing this way to show you that it looks the same in your account. So you got to make sure your bank shows that you're doing this through your own banking. And I have to customize all this. Nobody did this for me. I had to customly do all this stuff myself. Okay, so that's the credit union. That's just one example. I have another example with another bank that shows where Duns and Bradstreet shows up under my account. So any questions on the credit union? Because you should be able to do this at a credit union. Okay, so I'm going to show Bank of America. It's my next example exhibit on how the account will show as Duns and Bradstreet under my social. So remember we say you get the sole proprietor bank account. And once you do that, it'll show up under your social. This is going to be the evidence to prove how that works. I don't know if it can go to where. Yeah, it says view your business credit scores for free. Look at that. It's funny. It says it right there. Okay. So let me go to this screen and show you all on the screen in just a few. I gotta show you how I got there though. So let me show you how I got there. So the tools in investing. Here we go. Okay. All right. So this is my business credit just for my Duns and Bradstreet number. That's with my name. So as you can see, Bank of America was able to match my Duns number right here to my name right here. So when my name is listed into the Duns and Bradstreet system, it's showing I have a business credit. And the way they read a business credit is because they issued automatically a Duns number. So this is what I'm speaking of right here. Once you get access to your Duns number, the system will forever be able to create a business line of credit for you on your side, on your business side. So this right here is what I have so far. They'll tell you your delinquency predictor score. This is mine as of February 9th, 2026. And it shows that I'm a low risk, so that's a good thing. So we don't want to be a high risk. You want to be a low risk. So that's the highest that you can have in that line of credit is this 580 to 670. So I'm in a good range. I'm in 605 right now. Next is your small business financial exchange score, the one they'll use to give you credit cards or whatever. Now it shows that mine's right in the middle. I need to build this up to like 880 to 899 or 900 to 999. So once I get to 999, I'm at the highest level of score for the business side. So I'm showing you all this to prove why you're never supposed to focus on the FICO score exclusively ever again once you have become a sole proprietor. Yes, you have to do the DBA and the publication, all that stuff in order for this to work. Eventually, it'll work. If you apply for it, it'll work too. If you apply for the DUNS number, which will take a little longer, but it still will work if you do it. If you do it the right way with the sole proprietor DBA. So yes, this is what it looks like under Bank of America. So I'm showing you Bank of America created a Duns and Bradstreet business score with when I opened my bank account. I know this seems unbelievable, but it is. I'm showing you on the screen that it does allow this. So under tool and investing right here, this is how you get to your, which they say your credit score. So on mine right here, when I went to the tool and investing, I was able to see net worth, my activity, my budget, and I manage my banking. And then right here, I have a business credit score. So this is exactly what I was speaking of. When you get to the business side, you'll see it show up on Duns and Bradstreet. You'll also see it show up on Experian Business, TransUnion, Equifax, and so on. Okay, so that part where it says, by activating your revocable living trust as a functioning employer entity, you are positioned to legally pay yourself and others, fund operations, and grow your private banking power as a trustee and manager. In summary, master the right forms, structure your trust and bank accounts correctly, maintain detailed records, and use your trust entity as a private source to
We
pay
don't see your
bills.
screen.
Yeah, I'm reading the notes. You're going to use your trust. And let me show you the screen of the notes then. Let me show y'all the screen of the notes. All right, right here. In summary, you're gonna master the right forms, structure your trust and bank accounts correctly, maintain detailed records, and use your trust entity as your private source to pay bills and expend credit. So like I say, you're gonna be dealing with credit. When you pay your bills, you should be using a line of credit. Eventually, this is the way it looks. Like I say, you get the secure line of credit. It's way easier to get the secured card, but I see people saying they're having hard times getting the secured card. So I'll explain why the secured card will work only one way. Securing a sustainable income stream and financial freedom. So that is the whole point. I need you to add up the total amount of all your bills, your debts, and your expenses. And once you have that number, whether you have the money or not, that's our issue. We're thinking, well, I don't have the money. What if you had to pay rent somewhere? What if you had to have a car? How much would that car cost if you had to have the car? Well, we know you don't have the money right now for the car, but just add up how much it'll cost. That's how you're able to create this financial freedom, because you have to create these bills. So if you don't have no bills, what's going to be paid? How much does it cost to run your business? Do you have that number? Do you know how much it costs to rent the space for your business to operate? How much does it cost every month? What is the utility bill amount? How much is the equipment? These are the things that you all have to do. You have a lot of work. If you got a house, what do you have furniture yet? How much does it cost to fill the house up with furniture in every room? How much does it cost? How much does it cost to make sure the car has insurance all year? What's the total amount for the insurance bill all year? Now, if you're thinking about that every day and every month, this is not financial freedom. You're not supposed to be thinking about how you're going to pay your bills every day and every week and every month. So this is why I'm saying this way. And I know how to live without any of this. Like, let's say I don't get not a single thing from the IRS. I can still pay my bills, regardless of a check coming in from the IRS. That's true. That's financial freedom, because the EIN and all this stuff is all used as a business. So you should already have something that you're offering, and you have a service that you're able to give. So that's what it really is about having this trust. It's not about, what we think it is. We got to be able to do something that's going to get us out of this situation as much as possible. So this last part I'll say for this week is this: how to use a trust entity to purchase vehicles, open credit cards, acquire real estate, businesses, land, material, and equipment without running personal credit. That's the answer. I went over that answer for you all today. And we want to make sure everyone is fully able to operate and do this, because you don't want to go back and somebody finesses you and says, hey, you need to run your personal credit and you got to be the guarantor. And then you start it all over again. Okay, so let's last close out for this week on the UCC. So I'll be explaining, if there's no comments or questions on how to use this. I'll be going into some more examples of what you're going to do to use this to purchase vehicles. One of the main intricate facts that you're going to learn about the trust is the trust is going to be added to a uniform commercial code eventually, which is called a UCC1 form. It's also called Uniform Commercial Code, but you'll learn how to put everything under the trust when you use the UCC. What you're doing when you do this, everything here on out will be a UCC3. Once you have that UCC1, it'll be listings of all collateral under a revocable living trust. And that'll close us out for this week as we get into that intricate detail of what they call the UCC. Now, it is a rabbit hole. There's been many people that teach UCC, but I have studied and learned from all those methods and learned the easiest, fastest way and the straightest way is for you to use the revocable living trust. Now, if you don't use the revocable living trust for your UCC, then you're going to go into so many different ways. We don't make you a debtor. By the way, you're never going to be the debtor. So if you think that you're the debtor and you put yourself as a debtor, then you will remain a debtor. So we don't do that. We don't make you the debtor. So let me go to the UCC example of what it looks like for someone to show how it looks on a form. I'm going to first give you the examples of something complete. Instead of telling you about something that I didn't do or that I'm in the process of doing, I'm going to only show you what I've done. Then I'm going to walk you backwards of what I did to get to those steps. I like to work that way because it's easier for me to explain of what I did after I've showed you what is already working, rather than telling you something that I think is going to work and it doesn't work yet, but I hope it works. I don't think anybody should ever do that. But let's get to the part. Let me give you all a good diagram of Albert Einstein real quick. Because some of us may try to see, well, how smart do you have to be? Well, you got to be smarter than Albert Einstein to do your taxes, right? Because Albert Einstein told y'all the hardest thing in the world to understand is the income tax. Albert Einstein. So if y'all even listening or even have a little bit of knowledge on this, you're just as smart as Albert Einstein, or you're smarter than almost 90%, and I'm going to just say 98% of the world. You all are fitting in the 2%. You see, so the taxes is the ultimate level. If you truly understand, when you say, like they say, the biblical principles, get understanding. With all y'all getting, get understanding. Try your best. So Albert Einstein telling y'all something, man, like, hey, you on the right path. So with these things, we want to make sure that we're getting to the point where we can feel comfortable with even operating with the banking system, which are going to begin to show you how you begin to operate with the banking system. So the first level of the bank is you got the trust, but now you have to deal with the banking system. So what the bank likes when you deal with all property and collateral is something called a Uniform Commercial Code, which is called a UCC. Like I say, I'll go to an introduction this week. I know it's a new thing for us to think about, and some of us may have a little bit of knowledge on it. But I'm going to go into just exactly what I want it to look, what I want yours to look like once you begin to do this in the name of a trust. Okay, so what I did back in 2020, like I said, I only can show you the results of what I did back in a time in the past, and then up to now, I can show you that it's still working. So when I did this UCC, I filed it back in 2020, and it allowed what I just showed you to show up on the Experian business, as well as Equifax business, Duns and Bradstreet, everything. So there's a trade line. Once I've done this, I'm giving y'all some good information now. So I've created a trade line when I was able to put my trust in a UCC. All right, so the trade lines are your bills. When you have your bills, you make the amount of your bills the trade line. Because remember, you're giving everything over to the trust, right? So when I did my UCC, I made the state of Florida my debtor because the state of Florida is a corporation, right? Aren't all corporations the debtor according to the law? So are you all following the law? Where the law says that all corporations are all what they say, United States in the District of Columbia is a corporation. So every state that you're in, where you say the state of is the debtor, right? And they use a derivative of your name. So whatever name they put on that derivative that wasn't your full name, that's what they were doing business as. Okay, so this is where it gets to the part where you say you take over the guardianship and you take over the accounts and all this stuff. Well, you have to become secured. And that's what they call a secured transaction registry when you get into the Uniform Commercial Code. So in Florida, this goes through and this worked 100%. And I was able to create, as I said, in 2 years, when you all saw that diagram, that did create a $1.5 million line of credit. Now, the problem is that I didn't know how to get it on the credit card to pay for the real estate. So that is what I've learned in communicating with the banking system I needed to use my DUNS number. I needed to use my business EIN and all things of that sort. So once I've learned that, that's what got me to the step that I am now. I'm in the process of working on closing on commercial real estate. So I'm giving you all examples of what it is and why you would want to get to the numbers that you want to get to. So it includes all of your bills, your expenses, your businesses, and so on. So on this example, I put my name of my trust as the secured party. So the name of the revocable living trust has become the secured party. And that is what I put here on this example for the UCC. Remember they talked about collateral? So I'm going to show you where this financial statement is collateral. It does explain all of your collateral when they use this word right here. So this says this covers the following collateral. And I use my trust instrument as collateral. I wanted my trust instrument to become the collateral. So when I put this words, I put grantor assigns, conveys, and delivers to this living trust all of the rights, title and interest, tangible or intangible, to any and all properties, real or personal, all tangible and intangible assets of the secured party of my name, including all derivations of the name slash title of the reference secured party as that name or this name too. So these are the names they usually put on your driver's license or they have on your court cases. So mostly every court case has a derivative. They never write your full legal name. Trust me. You can go back and look at every court document you ever had. I guarantee you, your legal name is never fully wrote on those documents. When they do your driver's license or your ID, they always use your last name, first name, middle name. They're always using your last name. They put it in a separate column because they're using your family name, using your first, middle name, and some of your suffix. This was along with a noble private lender, which is the name of the trust, any and all intellectual property created in both the past, the present, or future. So that means anything that comes out of my mind, whether I created a new trust or I created a new idea or a new business, is still part of the trust. I don't need a patent. I don't need a trademark because if I get the patent or the trademark, it's under the corporation. Now, if I get that, it's in addition to a corporate business, not a trust. Patents and trademarks are for corporations. All right. It's very important that you all truly know how to deal with a living trust. A living trust is about being living. A corporation is no longer living once it goes under a corporation. All right. So this is an agricultural lien. And you can see this leaning all of the land. So the land title of the name is also an agricultural location. Okay, I see a hand. Go ahead.
What's the difference between the word corporation and business? How you saying it?
Yeah, the difference is a living trust is a business. A corporation is a business too. So I have to distinguish what type of business I am. That's what a lot of people we forget. You got to make sure that you're distinguishing yourself from these businesses. These are debtors. So all these businesses under the corporation are debtors. That's my easiest way to explain that. And then I'm going to show you all the law, where the law tells you that they are corporations. Anybody know that law? So I can quiz anybody here. Where does the law say that the United States is a corporation?
Yeah, I read it, but I don't know what the number is.
Come on, y'all. I need y'all to be smarter than Albert Einstein.
Every state is a business. Everything is a business.
Yeah, but where's the law that says United States is a corporation? It's a UCC as well.
I know they discussed the District of Columbia.
Okay, that's United States.
Mhm.
So where is that law?
Can't think of it.
Come on, y'all. If y'all was in court, y'all lost. Because they don't have they're gonna recess for a little bit, but they're gonna still ask y'all the same question. Where's the location of the debtor?
The location is in the District of Columbia. It's in Washington, D.C.
I
12
understand,
My
but
mile
radius.
radius. 12 mile
Yeah.
radius.
where's the
Uh,
law? I need y'all to give me
of
the
the law.
code. They don't
We don't
understand our
know.
language. They don't understand our language. They want to know the law code of where the location of the debtor is. Y'all got AI, y'all got internet. Y'all could have been found that answer.
Searching it.
Mm.
I got it for you. I'm gonna just pull it up. I just want to give y'all a little bit of time. Think about this, because if you don't believe or trust this, then your trust don't work. That means that you can have all that stuff all you want, but it's not gonna work if you don't believe or trust that United States is a debtor. Because they're under you. If you're a trust, then the United States automatically works for you and they're the servant. But if you're under United States, you're under them, then you are the servant to United States. Go ahead, Medudiel. I see Medudiel.
Well, I had mentioned the 12 mile radius, but you still said you need to code 12
You
mile
said, say it
radius
again. You
out.
said 12. I couldn't hear you. Say it one more time.
12 mile radius.
Yeah, the
The,
court doesn't speak.
No, 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 no. That's
the,
that's not a law code the court recognizes.
You're not
right.
talking about the Act of 1871, which is saying is not a district, is not, is false.
No, no, no. You're talking about articles of incorporation.
Yeah, okay.
I'm asking y'all for the law code that's being used in 2025 to this very day. And it's a UCC. It says location of the debtor.
I think I found it.
Or what does it say?
28 USC 300215. United States means a federal corporation, an agency, department, commission, board, or other entities of the United States. Maybe it's not the precisely one you was looking for, but yeah, I would
That's a
know.
good one. That's a federal law code.
Yeah.
But I need you to give me a world law code. The UCC is worldwide, right?
Ah,
Uniform
you
Commercial
wanted to
Code.
use, yeah, shit, I was not listening. Yes.
All right, I'm gonna pull it up and just give you all the answer. I need y'all to make sure you know this answer for here on out. So Uniform Commercial Code 9-307. UCC 9-307. Write it down, remember it. If you in court and you say UCC 9-307, it will work. Any questions on this? Because you got
Yep,
to use
here
their
it is.
code. Like I said, if it works in court, it works anywhere. Now it says the location of the debtor. That's to prove this. So when somebody can say, I don't trust the United States is the debtor. Why would you put United States there or state of Florida as a debtor? I don't understand. Well, I'm going to show and prove to you today why they are the debtor and
You
why
see
you're not
now.
supposed to be the debtor.
Code.
Go ahead, Medudi. I hear you.
Oh no, I was repeating. Okay, UCC 9. So it's in UCC 9, Article 9 of the UCC
Mm-hmm.
30. So I think that's the highest
That's
article we supposed to go, I think, with the UCC.
that is correct. This is the
So,
highest law. This is the law of the land,
right.
of the whole land, everywhere, all over the world.
I think it was revised. the revised law, UCC 9. I think they revised that.
Yeah, back in the 1970s, going into the 1990s.
Yeah.
So it's been around for a while. It's always been the UCC code. So I'm going to prove to you all why United States is the debtor. And they also put you here as a debtor too, if you choose to stay this individual. So number one, I wanted to prove that debtor is an individual who's located at the individual's principal residence. So we want you to turn your residence into a business, a trust. Let me make sure I say that, a trust, a business trust, because some of y'all would say, well, I got a business. Well, a trust EIN as a business.
Right.
I got to say that because I've been saying business, but I know that it doesn't sound the same that we're used to hearing. Here we go. So let's jump right down to the answer of where you see United States. It's right here, down here. They even say the state right here too, but it says the District of Columbia. And it says the location of United States right here, H. Location of United States. The United States is located in the what? District of Columbia. So where Trump, the president's office is in where? The District of Columbia. The POTUS, the president of the United States. That's what they call him, the POTUS. So he is under that debtor side when you all make them work for you. So they're the debtor.
Okay.
But if you don't make them work for you and you're upset at them, then you're the debtor too.
So they also the public servant.
There you go. Everybody, the whole United
Yeah.
States is the public servant. But we're not thinking this. We're thinking we're thinking like them. That's why they got us here listed at number one. See, they got us right here, number one. If we stay on the individual side,
Wow.
then they got your organizations. Those are debtors too.
Right.
Hospital organizations, nonprofit organizations, county, city.
Yes, sir. Just come up right there. Sorry? Got 10.
Mhm.
Right. Oh, pen? Yeah.
Let's close you. Okay, we got Medudy, Mike. So these are the organizations where you see the debtors. So this is where the law is saying this. So if you were in court, you all have to make sure you cite their code that gives you the confidence that you know what you're talking about. So now you know what you're talking about because you now have the code. UCC 9 dash what? 307.
307. Yeah.
Now let's go scroll down and show you all some more who are debtors. That's where you feel comfortable with, where they'll say the beneficial interest. They'll say, well, how do I feel comfortable getting this money? But look right here. Location of foreign bank, branch, or agency. That's another debtor. A branch or agency of a bank that is not organized under the law of the United States or a state is located in a state which the branch or agency is licensed if all branches and agencies of the bank are licensed in only one state. That's right. So they're the debtor too, even if they're overseas. There's a Bank of America overseas. It's a debtor. So the UCC is very important for us to see that you're being placed out of that, which they call location of the debtor, by placing yourself in the secured party, which we like to say you're the secured creditor. All right. So this is where that knowledge is coming from. It isn't something that you want to sit there and study all day and night. You do want to just do it. The easier that you do this, it's a lot faster. So this is how you secure your agricultural lien is perfected. They'll talk about the agricultural lien and perfection of your lien, of your title, which we understand your social security card or your birth certificate is said to be your titles and your cards. But we're not going to get into that today because we know the trust should cover everything. It should cover everything that you have in your name.
Brother Wallace.
I just go ahead. I'm listening.
Um, when do you do a non-UCC file? I know you got AG lane, but using the non-UCC filing makes it a private, makes it private, or makes you private, or non-UCC filing?
A non-UCC is anything that you created. A UCC is everything that they created.
Okay.
So what I'm doing, I'm claiming everything that they created. That's why I would need to do a UCC.
With
That's
the
why I
application,
said all title, all interest, and everything, right? In my
so
last
it could
diagram.
be AG lane then, your first UCC filing, or if you do a UCC now, it should be a AG lien because you're leaning the land and uh, everything else.
Right.
With you,
Yeah, I wouldn't check non-UCC for this first one because I'm leaning, like you just said, my titles. Everything that I have in my name. Anything that's in my name, the state no longer has jurisdiction over that. So that's why I put the state right there as one of my first debtors. Because they had the birth certificate, right? When you all issued your birth certificates, it's
yeah,
always coming from the state.
okay,
That makes sense?
yeah. So that language can be in that collateral box with the certificate of live birth and all your
Mm.
titles, like your license, or
Yeah, I feel like it's redundant. Just put anything that got my name on it.
you said put anything that's got your name, or
Well, I'm just saying that's the way I wrote it from my trust. I just copied and pasted my Schedule A that was on my trust, my revocable
oh,
trust. And I
oh,
put
okay,
all the rights, title, and interest, even my beneficial interest. So all interest in bank accounts, interest at these companies I'm paying cash to and they getting interest, credit
yeah,
card interest, I get all that back.
right.
That's what's giving me, that's why I'm substantiating this. If the court asks, hey, why do you feel like you should get your interest? What makes you feel you should get interest? Well, then I'll just show them my financial statement.
Hey, Brother Wallace, what about a security agreement? Should that be, because in the past, we had attachment for the security agreement. Some people had 10, 12 pages, 8 pages.
So, well, that's your UCC3, or you attach
Oh,
that
that's the
to this
three.
right here.
Okay, then.
Yeah. So if you have a secure, like somebody asked the question last week, what if I have a promissory note? Well, we tell you to do a secured promissory note because you're going to secure the promissory note with the collateral amount that you want to put on the UCC because it's your bank.
Okay.
This is really your bank right here. When you create your UCC financial statement, this is your bank.
Right. Um,
Now you don't have to ask the bank for all these monies, and you just give them your financial statement, and they're supposed to honor and give you that line of credit.
just the UCC. You don't have to give them the security agreement with it.
I don't know about the security agreement. I know that there's a promissory note that banks like to take.
Right.
Like they say, I need to get a letter of credit, right? Letters of credit.
Okay.
Like if I need real estate, they'll say, well, can you get a letter of credit to buy this real estate? So that I need to create a letter of credit that's approved by the bank, and then I add it to my UCC. Does that make sense to anybody? Any questions on that?
It has to do with security leverage, right? You give them the application with the instructions. The instructions is the UCC file.
Yeah, I mean, you give them the UCC is a state filing. It's a filing. It's for the whole entire state, so they can see it. When you give them your UCC number, they should be able to see it.
Yeah, and they should know then what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Brother Wallace, I noticed something when I was looking at all the listings of UCC in every state. Wisconsin at that particular time had a financial institution attached to their UCC office. Have you ever seen that in the state of Wisconsin?
Wisconsin has a what again?
A financial institution attached to their UCC office. They said it's $200 when you file with Wisconsin, because it has a financial institution attached to that. That's the only UCC office from what I've seen that's like that. A financial institution attached.
Mm-hmm. So, like, what happens is when you have a financial bank, like I just showed you all with Bank of America or something, right? You would
Yeah,
get the documents from them, and then you would go ahead, if it's approved, you would place that on your UCC. That's what I'm saying. So
right.
you
What
you
you
have to
said earlier.
communicate directly through your banking system, and those documents will come to you from your banking system.
Okay.
So you can't create your own things because remember, whatever you created is a non-UCC, right? Remember, we just said that. So if it's something that you create, you write up all these documents and all these things, and you say, "Hey, I want to get $100 million security interest, security agreement." Then you do the like they show everybody that that bond paper thing, right?
Yeah,
That's something that you created.
right.
You see what I'm saying? So that is not really going to get you those funds. That's just going to discharge things. That's just going to get, some people say they use that to discharge. It doesn't get you any
Mhm.
money though.
Right.
And some people try to get the money. They'll say, well, I'm going to pay you more and then you give me the remainder back. So I'm going to give you a bigger instrument so that I can get $1 million back or something, right? So I'm showing you that that is not the way to do anymore because they're no longer going to recognize that at this point. So just to give you
All
all
right.
a clear answer to it, I want to make sure I clear that up, is that you're not going to create your own docs. You want to get those documents that are approved by the banking system already. And then you add that to your UCC.
Um, Wanted to ask you a question.
Yes, feel free. We got a little bit more time, then we'll be closing out.
Okay. Uh, I did the 2025 filing like you with the 1040. The 2025 filing because I got the finally got the W-2, but there was something strange, a little different. Because I started off trying to did the sole proprietor first, but then they asked me. Well, then they asked for the W-2s, but next day the W-2s came. Now it was a question. They said, "Welcome back." We had your sole proprietor from 2024 filing, and then it was trying to get me to delete the business because I have to add the wages, earnings for 2025, wages, earnings, and tips. I didn't understand why.
Yeah, so you're speaking of using the tax software to add. So when you add your W-2, you go to the section that says add W-2. There will be nothing that you add to your business.
Yeah, it was trying to get me to delete the business. So I just wanted to make sure they didn't automatically delete it.
No, you have full control over your business information on the software.
Because it was asking for the amount. But when I looked at the last year, they had the losses. This time they said you didn't add anything. A question came across the software about the Schedule C, saying I did not add any amount that was lost. I didn't quite understand it because that wasn't the case last year.
Yeah, you have to visit that section and just go ahead and go through the part. But to answer your question is something that will have to be done on Zoom, where we're able to see your screen, or you
Yeah, I
send us a
won't.
screenshot. So we can't really give you word answers to what you're saying.
Yeah, I left a message, not a message, an email. I was trying to request a Zoom meeting so that
Yeah,
I
you
could
have to
show.
give us a date and time that you can do it if you want us to manually set your meeting based upon your member plan account. That's the best way that we can do it, but you have to send us the date and the time that you can do it that's within our time that we're open, and we can
Yeah,
manually set that time for you.
yeah, I was trying to do that,
Yeah.
and I was trying to pick a day like Monday or Tuesday, because I just wanted to make sure I didn't mess up on nothing, because it's saying you didn't put anything for the amount of the loss, but they already have. Once you set up the sole proprietor, I think the first time for me was last year. Once you set that up successfully, or that was done successfully, you can't you can't delete that because something came in saying the 1040 SR senior something, and I don't remember I didn't see how that came through because I didn't fill that out.
Like I
So I
said,
don't
you're
know.
asking once again, you're asking intricate questions on a software that we
Right.
can't see. So it's impossible to help you to navigate through that because it also causes errors when you try to remember what to do, which a lot of people try to do. So we don't
Yeah.
want you all to do that. We like to review it before you turn it in. That way there is no room for error. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
because
close out with this last part so that once you
yeah.
get to that time, we'll be able to get the time slot for you. But I wanted to
Okay, I
show
see
this
what
last
you're
part
saying.
of the legal and the de facto to show where
Right.
you all are with the UCC. So I hope that help with anyone else that want to deal with software with taxes. We have to see your screen or you have to show a screenshot of what you're saying if you're a member that's paying a monthly rate for us to walk you through or talk to you or answer questions. So the answer that I wanted to show, a physical answer to what we were talking about with the UCC, that is the highest level of your system that you're in on the corporation side. So if you're still down here under the corporations, look how far down you are. And this is why a lot of us are still upset of why the state is doing what they're doing. Why is this government? Why is this? Why is that? Well, they're corporations. We have to accept the answer. If you don't want to accept that this is a corporation, then that's on us. But they're gonna keep acting like that. They're never gonna change. But if we change and we update ourselves up to this point right here, this will get your trust to even manage this legal side. So the revocable trust instrument can also manage the UCC once you have that trust instrument. And that'll trickle down all the way down here to everything that goes down here. That's why I went into this, kind of show you the power that you have once you have that trust, that revocable trust. If you use the trust only at all times that you created, then you will always be on the lawful side, which is the law of the land. It's also your de jure side too. So you're above the water. You're in the land of the living. That's when you get into that constitutional law, the common law that we're supposed to be operating in, causing no harm to each other, causing no fraud to each other living souls. But if you're not a living soul, you're on the individual side, we can see why you still talk about other people, or you're causing harm to other people, or you just really don't feel like nothing's going to happen to you because you're just going to just, you're still down there under the corporation. That's why common law people don't think like that, because they're doing business. They don't have time to talk about, your business. They're focusing on theirs. That's why I say common law is going to take you all to the business side. You're going to start handling your business and affairs a lot more efficient. Higher than common law is laws of nature. You can't stop nature if it's raining, or if it's, it's cold, or things like that. So you're dealing with law, natural law. You got to know the nature, the laws of nature, the seasons. All these things are going to be very important for you to live in this, on this world and this earth and on this land. And last but not least, the laws of God. So if you with God and you following God, then this is why you have a living trust. Now, if you feel like you don't believe in God, or you don't think there's a God, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're still living. So we only can deal with the God of the living. We can't deal with, which we're gonna say, the God of the dead. This is the God of the dead down here, which is where we see this part says fiction. Everything's a fiction. Everything is made up. It's hocus pocus, right? This is why we got to be careful, because they are casting spells when they deal with your court. They write out these documents on you. They're casting those spells because it's all fiction. So don't take it personal. The more you can get out of taking it personal, which is down here, the legal persons, you keep taking it personal, you're a legal person, technically. That legal person. And then you're in that personal bank account. All your money is in that personal bank. So that's why we start acting funny about our money. You see? So let's get out of these ways. The faster we can get out of this, the easier it is for us to get things done. That EIN is all you ever needed. As soon as you use this EIN, this takes you instantly out of this water up here into the real world, because the EIN is designed for you to not get caught up in these waves right here, down here. So sometimes the diagram can make it easier to explain than for you all to stay down here trying to get credit, trying to build your FICO score, getting patent trademarks and all this stuff, right? And then now after you get all that, now you feel comfortable that you can still live underwater? No, that wouldn't be the way. You want to make sure you're living through the trust. That's why it's a trust instrument. It says everything you need on there, and you want to live through that. That's all I have for this week. I thank you all for coming in and listening and continually being motivated to get this knowledge done. Because it's not as easy as it seems. It's easier if you work on it.
Peace and love, Brother Wallace. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yes, sir. I hear you well. You got any comments or last closing for us? Any thoughts you want to say?
Yeah, I think if I could recall properly, one of the last things I did try to do was get a DUNS number. And I think we were waiting on that. And now that I have it, perhaps there's some more steps that we could take, like getting the business bank account going on. Because I did before, but it was through my given name, not my business name. So maybe we can talk about that.
That's perfect. We sure will. So just message, if you all are in the University Technicians platform, just try to message there as much as possible, and then we'll be able to finish off where we all left off. Outside of that,
Yeah, I
thank you all
appreciate that.
for coming
Great
in this week.
class, Wallace.
Thank
Great
you. Thank
class.
you.
Very informational. Thank you.
Mhm. This
Thank
was
you, Brother Wallace.
Toda, thank you all for coming in. We'll be closing out. Have a good week.
you too.
Night
Thank
fall,
you.
everybody. Be safe out there.
You too.
You too.